Keith, there was a meeting last night that was held by the Icicle-Shaston Irrigation District, informational meeting on the status of that situation up in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness. Can you give us an update?
I can, and actually the meeting was convened by Chelan County Emergency Management, and they had the Forest Service represented. The Irrigation District was there, Department of Ecology, Dam Safety Office, they had the National Weather Service. They had all the parties that are involved.
Good turnout?
It was a very good turnout because everyone that's downstream was pretty much concerned about what may transpire. I think the bottom line after the meeting, all the details were shared, is that today the irrigation district, they did fly an excavator up there on Saturday, so today they will be able to start moving some of the earthen dam portion, and what is now currently about a 20 to 30 foot wide spillway, it'll end up being about 100 feet wide, which will really allow the water to come out, and they'll be able to have a better prediction of the flows as opposed to a major blowout of the dam. It was brought out, though, there were a number of concerns that people raised about just the dam itself, the maintenance of it and all. And the people that were there, they indicated that dam has been monitored and inspected. There has been routine maintenance, but it has been in a state of deterioration, even though it's been somewhat maintained. But it's one of those things. The fire really created a major impact because there was so much runoff. The south-facing slopes are bare. The north still have about 50 to 70% of the snowpack. So there's plenty of water to come yet. A major storm event could have an impact, but hopefully they'll be able to widen that spillway area and drain the lake down. So it seems like they have a good plan in place. I hope the people last night were somewhat assured that things were being well cared for us from a monitoring standpoint. But anytime you're downstream from what could be a major failure, I mean, we've seen things down in California or wherever where you've had a dam break, that there's really not a whole lot of warning, and there's no predictability as to the impacts.
That was my next question. I mean, really, how would you know if the dam breached? Is there any kind of early detection or any kind of a system in place that would advise the downstream or the irrigation district that that's happening?
Well, they intended on getting monitors up there before now. They will be getting them installed, and they'll be on a 5-minute interval as far as the readout. So if you see a spike, in those 5 minutes, you would be able to anticipate that maybe there is something going, and you do have roughly 30 minutes before it hits the Icicle Creek, and then another 30 minutes to get down to the hatchery area. So I mean, you might have an hour, but in all reality, that's not much time if you're getting it immediately when that alert goes out. But they are tied into what is like the Amber Alert system. So if there is an alert or an awareness that goes out, smartphones will pick it up. But once again, you need to be positioned where you're able to respond, and that's sometimes very unpredictable as to the timing of that.
Well, I'm sure it's been advantageous for the irrigation district, or at least from a public education standpoint, for people to learn more about the dam itself. And really, when you consider that it was built over 100 years ago, that's 100 years worth of winters that it's survived, and says something about construction standards back then too, I suppose.
Well, it does say something about construction standards, but the other side of the coin is that the way dams are built today, it has more flexibility, more allowance, more opportunity to increase the discharge, for example. And really what they did is they took the historic level. The earthen dam that is there really is only keeping the lake at its historic level. It would have, except for the erosion of it. And that spillway that was there was just a small discharge area, and then of course the pipe, and that was just to drain it out slowly. But nowadays, if they go up, when they do replace it, they said there'll be a greater opportunity for them to drain that lake if they need it, if they have a real influx of water. So it'll be designed to current standards, but it was pretty well constructed, even the way they did it. It was just they used logs for their forms and poured concrete around that, and it was pretty ingenious, really.
Isn't the goal really to modernize that dam up there, or maybe to increase its capacity up there?
Well, it's not so much increasing the capacity, but it definitely will be a modernization. And as they said, when they get done with the new structure, it'll probably have about 5 feet of freeboard
Right.
above where they would maintain the lake level. So, I mean, it does give a lot more, when I say flexibility, as far as holding the water back or discharging, because it'll be a greater capacity spillway.